Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great week and I hope you're having a great weekend. This is take two, in case you're wondering. The first the first go live was the headphones were disconnected, so I couldn't say anything. So we had to start over, and that is one of the things with live radio. You just have to sort of go with the flow. But I wanted to make sure that I got off to a good beginning, but also I wanted to make sure that I apologize for that and to let you know what happened. All right, so here we go. So I'm tongue-tied as well. The title of today's show is Love, Peace, and Soul, and the topic is spiritual writing. One of my favorite things to do on a Saturday during my childhood days was watching Soul Train. And I don't know if you're familiar with that program, but it came on Saturdays, and so did American Bandstand. I'm giving away my age just in case you didn't realize that. But anyway, that was one of the highlights of my weekends as a child. And since it's Black History Month, allow me to educate you, if you will, just a little, okay? Don Cornelius was famous for hosting Soul Train for 35 years. And these three words, love, peace, and soul, he said at the end of each episode. I can't do it the way he did it, but anyway, I gave it my best shot. Soul Train embodied Black expression through music. And the experience, it left you tired from dancing with the residual feeling of a job well done. So let's move to our topic, spiritual writing, okay? And you may ask, what is spiritual writing? What does it encompass? And how does it encourage you to write from a deeper expression space? Spiritual writing in this context isn't related to a biblical purpose, but a feeling of being more in your Zen zone. That's a tongue twister. At ease with your thoughts, body, and soul. The perfect balance of outer and inner well-being. And if I may interject a personal opinion, I equate spiritual writing with prayer. When we pray, our attention is focused on the source, the reason, and the solution in much the same manner as we approach any process. Still, these three elements of spiritual writing include relation, value, and purpose. Spiritual writing helps authors pull from an inner resource that powers artistic expression, a protective space that invokes three attributes, love, peace, and soul, relative to a writing journey. Now, you may not believe it, but how you think and ultimately write has much to do with a spiritual dynamic. When we are focused on our overall perspectives, it allows creativity to flow endlessly and purposefully. Anything we do, we want to make sure that it has a purpose, that we have a reason for doing it, that some way it's going to increase and value, a person's life. You may think, well, it's just a book. How can a book change anything? Well, you read the Bible. The Bible is life-changing. It changes your life on so many different levels. And, no other book can compare to that one. But still, there are so many other books out there that they still have that same effect on our maybe not our physical being, but our spiritual being. In some way, it enriches that, and it makes us. It gives our life more purpose. It gives it direction, and we can learn a lot from that, from listening to that inner voice that lives inside of all of us, because we need to listen to that on so many different levels. We need to listen to that. We need to always be aware of our inner voice, because it speaks to us, and sometimes it speaks loudly, but then other times when we ignore it, it quietens down, to a volume to where you can't hear it. It almost goes silent. But then when you start to re-engage with your inner voice, that voice pipes up again. And it grows louder and louder and louder, so you can hear it and you can follow it. So just always be mindful of that, because our headspace is a sacred area, or it should be. There's no need to look outwardly for your muse when your inner source of creativity awaits you. And we harness the power of spiritual writing, depending on the author's willingness to devote time and energy to their driving force. And that driving force comes from within and flows without. When we learn to listen to it, when we learn to align our spirits with our mind, and just go there. If you have to, just get in your quiet space. Get in your quiet space, and and meditate. Meditation is so good. It is so good for the body, for the spirit, for the soul. It is just so good for that. And just you can start your day out with it. And if writing is your full-time job, you may want to do it before you even put your fingers on the keyboard, because you need that grounding. You need to be anchored. You need to be centered. It is so worthwhile. It is so recommended and so necessary to have all of these things aligned, so you can be your best self. Okay. Spiritual writing is a personal journey of prepared awareness, purpose, and dedication. And I mean, that's just the gist of it, folks. If you're dedicated to anything, if you're prepared for anything, if you are aware of your purpose, then that's what spiritual writing is. At least this is my definition of spiritual writing. There may be other definitions, and I'm pretty sure there are other definitions of spiritual writing. But, from my perspective, today's show is what spiritual writing means to me. So you may have your own definition of what spiritual writing means to you. And you may have a few takeaways from my impression as well. I am not trying to direct anyone's narrative, only my own. And, and this is my narrative. This is my thought. This is my perception. So, and I just want to share it with you today. And you can do with it whatever you want to do with it. You can take away the good and the bad of it. But as long as you take away something, that is what is important to me. And, and if you think of spiritual writing as a bulldozer, preparing the ground for new construction, it makes a level playing field with no restrictive elements, only an open avenue to discoveries. And that's what we want to do. We want to be our best at everything we do. And we want to let our creativity flow freely. And the best way to do that is to open everything up. Open up your mind, open up your body, open up your spirit, and just let it flow. Okay? And when our minds are clear, it allows our creativity to become more accessible and tap into our inner resources, which hold a wealth of knowledge. So essentially, we are what we write, how we write, and how we accept those two things. All right, guys, that is today's show. But before I let you go, I want to make sure I give you these URLs, because I want to keep you in constant contact with Book Chat. And if you missed today's live show, that's totally my fault. But I did re-engage. I did come back for the second shot. And hopefully I got that one right. But anyway, the first one, of course, is to Spreaker. And that is at https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can also follow me across all social media, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And Instagram is by invitation only. You can also check out my website that is at authorvivianemore.com or authorehshepard.com. Please check out my blog site that is at https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. Go out there and read those transcripts and like them if you will. I would appreciate it greatly if you would do that. And also, again, if you missed today's live episode, you can listen to the recorded version today and every other episode before this one on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, JioSaven, Audible.com, Verbal, and Luminary, and also Amazon Music. Okay, so those are all the places where you can access book chat. All right. So tomorrow is Worship Day. It is the second Sunday of the month, and it's also our second full week of Black History Month. So I just want to make you aware of that. If you do celebrate the month, the holiday, I hope that you are planning to to celebrate it and perhaps enlighten those that may not be aware of how detailed of a history African Americans have in this country that goes deeper than slavery. Okay, so put that on your agenda, and because the young ones, they need to know where they came from to know where they are going. Okay, all right, so make sure that you invite your neighbors and your family and your friends to listen in to those sermons that will be taking place tomorrow. And also, I just want to remind you to always tell those that you care about the most how you feel about them, because tomorrow is not promised. Today may be the only chance you get to say that. So on that note, I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.